Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making Carne Asada tacos with guacamole and Pico De Gallo. Now when I thought about Mexican food, I usually think like the old El Paso kind of thing, like quite powdery, quite hot, and just it's not proper Mexican. I went to San Diego last year and tried proper Mexican food and I was totally blown away because it's nothing like what I'd had before. In the UK, it's pretty much Tex-Mex we get, and the Mexican flavours were totally different. So I followed a few people on YouTube, I looked at a few recipes, and I kind of come up with a variation on my own kind of recipe for Carne Asada tacos. It's pretty similar to Sam the cooking guy, who I follow and who I think is absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to try and do his recipe a bit of justice for the Carne Asada, then make up a traditional guacamole and a pico de gallo, and then garnish it with some chopped radish. And I'm going to be using a few tools along the way. I'm going to be using the Kitchen Whiz peel and dice to make my pico de gallo, and I'm probably going to use the citrus press to juice some limes. So everyone's going to make it a bit easier and we'll crack on. So to make my Carne Asada marinade, I'm going to be using pretty much identical to Sam the cooking guy. I've made this a few times, and when you take this to a barbecue, this always goes down well. It's so good, so tasty, and I'm just going to start that now. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take a bunch of coriander, just a handful. You don't really want a lot of stems, not necessarily no stems, but try and minimise the amount of stems. And I'm just going to roughly chop this. I don't want to chop it too fine. I don't want like a proper mince on it. Just enough that I can still see chunks, pretty much like a chiffonade. I don't really want to see any green on my board because that'll be lost flavour. So I'm just going to put that in a bowl. And next I'm going to add a couple of cloves of garlic. The next thing to go in the bowl is about a tablespoon of cumin. I'm not going to be too precise with that because I'm going to taste it before I marinate the beef with it. Controversial ingredient, but a couple of tablespoons of soy sauce. I'm using light soy sauce. Just give it that salty kick. Totally non-traditional flavour, and I know Sam the cooking guy took a bit of stick for this, so it is good though. A couple of teaspoons of brown sugar. The zest of a lime. So there's a lot of oil goes into this, but bear with me because I'm going to be barbecuing this on a hot grill. So because I'm using a gas grill, I'm going to basically be using the oil to create a flame, and most of the oil is going to evaporate and run into the barbecue, so this really is not as bad as it looks. And finally, the juice of a lime. And I'm going to be really lazy and use the citrus juicer because I've got a few more limes to press, so I'm just going to do them all at once and then use some of it in here. That made things really easy, and I'm just going to pour this in. So I'm just going to give this a stir and give it a taste. Obviously it's really oily, but what I'm looking for is a bit of saltiness and a bit of heat. I'm just going to be using frying steak to make this because it really doesn't need to be a thick steak. Actually, it's one of the rare instances where thinner is probably better because the marinade gives more flavour and it takes such a short time to cook. It just makes things a lot quicker. Now the hack to marinate this is I'm going to be using a vacuum chamber. Now, in my opinion, this is an essential bit of kit in like a modernist kitchen. Whenever anyone comes into my kitchen, it's like everyone's drawn to this stainless and black monstrosity and wonder what it is and what it's for. Now I usually use it for vacuum packing, for sous vide and keeping things fresh. The advantage with a chamber, however, is that you can actually seal water in this, or that's a really bad example, but I've just made chicken stock, and it means that I can seal chicken stock, freeze it flat, and then I've got a flat panel of chicken stock, which is a lot easier in the freezer. And the other good advantage of it is you can marinate in like a minute and a half. So I'm going to set this up to marinade, and it's basically a case of turning the vacuum time up to the max, which in this instance is 100 seconds. This is a Buffalo vacuum chamber, and it's probably the cheapest commercial vacuum chamber that you can buy, so it's okay. It's not the best. I'm really after a polyscience one, but funds don't permit that at the moment, unfortunately, so I've got to make do with this. But in saying that, I've had this for about a year and a half, and it has been good. It's been through a seal, and it's pretty reliable. It doesn't always pull the best vacuum, but when you're running it for as long time as 100 seconds, it usually gets all the air. It's got a chamber vacuum bag. Now, the difference between a chamber vac bag and a clamp style vac bag is that this bag's smooth. It doesn't need channels for the air to be drawn through like with a clamp sealer. So these are a bit cheaper, and there's not really any advantage to it. So I'm just going to take my meat, put it in the bag, try and arrange it pretty flat so that the marinade can get as much contact. I'm just going to put all 4 slices in here. I'm going to quickly wash my hands because I've just touched raw meat. So into the bag goes about 3/4 of the marinade. I'm just going to keep some of that just to brush on the steak while it's cooking in the barbecue. I'm just going to smush that around, make sure everything's coated, pull the steaks apart, just make sure everything's nice. So then open my vacuum chamber, pop this in, flatten it out a bit, close the lid and pull a vacuum. So after 100 seconds, it's just sealing the bag, and then it's going to evacuate the air from the chamber. Just like so. So one of the advantages of this is, once this is sealed, this is nice and marinated, but it's also really handy if you're taking it to a friend's for a barbecue, because everything's sealed, everything's in there, and it's not going to leak, and it's going to stay nice and hygienic. So you can just pop this in a cool box, open it when it's ready to go on the barbecue, and everything's good. So the beef's in the fridge. I usually keep it in the fridge because it is really thin. So the trick with that is, when I go to barbecue, I'm going to barbecue at a really high heat, and then it should stay slightly pink in the middle because it's cold from the fridge, and the radiant heat, when I let it rest, should cook everything through. So that's in theory. In practice it might work. It's worked before. So I'm just going to prep the rest of my ingredients for my guacamole and my pico. So avocados. Hopefully these are ripe. It feels pretty soft, but it looks good. So this is going to be a traditional guacamole, so I'm just going to get the avocados out of the skin. I'm going to mash those up with a fork. Start off mash. I'm not going to go too daft. I want this to be quite chunky. I'm going to sprinkle on a couple of teaspoons of salt and some of the lime juice that I got from the citrus press earlier. Just about the juice from about half a lime. I'm just going to mix that up. So that's good to set to the side, and the final thing I'm going to do is make Pico De Gallo. To make my pico, I'm going to be using the Kitchen Whiz peel and dice with a dicing attachment. So I'm going to be using the 8mm blade, and to build it, the spindle goes in first, then the distributor pointing down, then the 8mm dicing disc clips into place, and then finally the actual blade, and then the lid goes on. I'm really excited to use this because this is genuinely the first time that I'm using it. So I'm just going to prepare another couple of things just before I start dicing. I'm just going to get a chilli, just a green chilli. It should really be a jalapeno, but it's quite tricky to get chillies like by name in the UK, or certainly where I'm from. So it's just a green chilli that I'm just going to mince up. I'm just going to keep the seeds in because I want a bit of heat from this. I'm going to turn that side on and just get a nice, really fine dice on that. This is a bit finer than what the food processor would be able to do, because I want this, I don't want to be able to bite the chilli. I want it to be there, but I don't want it there in big chunks. So that's perfect dice there. Pop that to the side, and I'm going to start preparing my tomatoes. So I'm going to attempt this with 4 tomatoes, so I'm just going to remove the tops, and I'm using my new global knife to do this, which is just making everything really nice. It's so sharp and it's so good. Also a global chopping board, because why not, fanboy. I'm going to half and peel my onion and remove the stalks. So ingredients wise, I've got 1 red onion, 4 tomatoes, 1 green chilli, the juice from about 1 lime, and I'm going to put some coriander in at the end. But I'm just going to open this up and see how the dicing works. I'm going to turn it on first, and then I think it's just a case of dropping everything in, putting the plunger down and hitting start. When it's finished dicing, you'll get a bit on the top, so you just clip this on and just push it through. So my eyes are watering slightly from the onion, but I'm sure that'll pass. I'm just going to build it back up and do the tomatoes. So the good thing about this food processor is it's got a really wide chute. So it means that you can just load up everything in here, press this in, press start, and we should have lovely diced tomatoes. And that took like absolutely no time at all. I'm just going to get the rest of it that it didn't get. There's a couple of tomato cheeks up here. I'm just going to pop those on and repeat pushing through. I'm just going to remove the gear and the distributor, tip this into a bowl, and that looks absolutely perfect. So everything looks really even, and I'm just going to mix it up and mix in a bit of chilli. Probably not use all the chilli, but give it a mix. Pour in some of the lime juice that was squeezed earlier. And then finally I'm going to get a bit more coriander, chop that up and put it through. So I'm just going to let that sit, and I'm going to go outside and grill off my beef and heat up my corn tortillas. in here. I've got my beef resting, I've got my corn tortillas, they're warmed, pico's ready, guacamole's ready. Just the last thing I'm going to do is, because I've got the food processor out, is just use the variable slicer and cut up a couple of radishes just for a garnish and a bit of crunch. I feel like it needs that, everything's pretty soft here, so it just needs that extra bit of crunch and bit of texture. So I'm just going to do that really quickly with the food processor, and it's literally going to take about a second. Perfect radish slices. So last thing to do is just cut up my beef and then put it in the tacos. I'm cutting this really thin strips. And to build, get a taco wrapper, get some guacamole, put it down, get some of this beef, and finally get some pico for the top. And last but not least, some slices of radish. And finally, I'm just going to serve this with a cheek of a lime. And a bit more pico and salsa on the side. And that is how I make carne asada tacos with guacamole and pico de gallo. So I'm just going to tuck into this. And as always, if you've liked the video, please click like and subscribe. Thanks very much.